Tonight on CTV News, anxiety over private property rights.
The province and feds must take responsibility, step in and backstop private landowners during the appeal process.
A Richmond City Councillor is calling on the province to buy land at the centre of the Cowichan court case.
I think it's very important that we take the time to do that analysis and work out where we're giving tax breaks.
Growing calls to stop the sweetheart deal some groups have on property taxes, and
where are all these kids going to fit?
Fight over Fleming Elementary. Parents are upset that part of the South Vancouver property is turning into condos.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the latest reverberation from a landmark ruling on Aboriginal title in Richmond. A city councillor is calling on the province to support property owners impacted by the decision granting Aboriginal title over a large swath of land to the Cowichan tribes, even if it means buying their land. CTV's Ben Milger has the story.
About 45 private owners have property within an 800-acre swath of land over which the courts recently granted the Cowichan tribes Aboriginal title. According to the province, about 100 more could be impacted by an appeal by the First Nations for an additional 1,000 acres. Most of them only found out about it after the decision came down.
This was backdoor dealing. And we're just vehemently opposed to the process. We should have been there at the table with the rest of the federal government and provincial government.
With every party to the original lawsuit appealing, it could take years for the case to make its way to the Supreme Court of Canada. In the meantime, there is uncertainty over land values and property owners' ability to sell, refinance, or even get insurance.
Our phones have been ringing. Clients who are not directly in the affected area are wondering about their values, how this affects them. So it's a larger concern, for sure.
Richmond councillor Alexa Liu, who called this news conference, wants the provincial and federal governments to negotiate with the Cowichan tribes in search of a settlement to bring an end to the uncertainty. In the meantime, she also wants the province to create a way for concerned property owners to cash out without risking their equity.
I want measures to be put in place that will backstop the Richmond landowners. So if a landowner needs to sell, they can sell maybe into a land trust and at a fair market value, maybe their last assessed value, something like that.
The Ministry of the Attorney General did not respond directly to questions about Liu's suggestions. In a statement, it did say its approach focuses on protecting private property rights. Ben Milger, CTV News, Richmond.
BC New Democrats are gathering in Victoria for the party's convention, and there are questions about the level of support the Premier will be receiving from delegates. David Eby says the convention will give him a chance to meet face-to-face with members from every part of the province. He may be facing some tough questions, however. The recent BC GEU strike, which stretched for 8 weeks, certainly ruffled some feathers. The Premier was also asked about the BC Nurses Union, who have also expressed concerns over bargaining.
There's lots for us to talk about in terms of just work conditions for nurses, as well as ensuring that they're able to cover the bills as well. So I look forward to that discussion, because if we're supporting nurses, we're supporting British Columbians, and that's what we're going to do.
The Premier will also face an official leadership review tomorrow, and will be hoping to see a better result than the 71% opposition leader John Rustad got from his party members earlier this year. A plan for a new Filipino cultural center is raising questions about how financially sound the proposal is. Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim got lots of kudos for his plans to pursue a Filipino cultural center in Mount Pleasant, something the community has been advocating for decades. However, concerns are being raised over the proposal on the finances of such a project. Court documents show lenders are trying to foreclose on the property at Main and 4th. Filipino BC says it needs to ask the tough questions to ensure the process is clear and ethical.
The sense of urgency feels manufactured. The sense of that this would be the only way that this could happen feels disingenuous.
Filipino BC says a cultural center must be built with transparency, genuine consultation, and the informed consent of the Filipino community. Millions of dollars in annual property tax exemptions are resulting in growing calls to reconsider who gets a break and how much. The provincial legislation impacts all corners of the province, with Vancouver standing out. Our Penny Dafflocks takes a closer look.
In the heart of Vancouver's upscale Shaughnessy neighborhood, two-acre estates are taxed as farmland.
You have usage requirements, and you also have income requirements.
Assessed at just $11,000, while neighbors' similarly sized land is valued around $10 million. Applications are required for consideration as farmland.
Its own separate tax rate within the prescribed classes of property regulation.
The City of Vancouver considers the Society of Caballerians a charitable organization and doesn't charge it property taxes. A 2002 Supreme Court of Canada decision described it as a cult, and their website says they help people to assume a balanced name to improve their destiny. These examples are outliers, but there's no dispute that certain landowners, including places of worship and private schools, get a sweetheart deal when it comes to property taxes as laid out in the community charter legislation.
After 56 years of this system, it's worthwhile to re-examine.
I think it's very important that we take the time to do that analysis and work out where we're giving tax breaks that aren't making a contribution to society.
Vancouver's city charter is nearly identical to provincial law. This councillor wants to see automatic tax breaks for vertical farms across BC, while this mayoral candidate wants greater scrutiny on places of worship.
A lot of these services have been taken over by government, have been taken over by other not-for-profits, and there is an imbalance.
We don't deny a lot of churches do a lot of good that's necessary in the community, but is that promotion of faith itself charitable? We don't think so.
The BC Humanist Association has spent years advocating for a community benefit test and for city councils to make the decision on tax breaks.
How many volunteers do you have? Who do you serve? What benefits do you give to the community?
I think it's not feasible.
Faith leaders point out they continue to fill the gap where government funding ends.
Everybody knows how many people, how many churches, how many gurdwaras are feeding the people.
The Catholic Archdiocese says it also provides bereavement support and refugee sponsorship through volunteers in their 77 parishes throughout the Lower Mainland. When it comes to private schools, CTV News has learned those institutions sit on $1 billion worth of property in Vancouver alone, none of which pays $1 in property tax. The Ministry of Finance tells CTV News the BC government is not currently planning on any changes to these property tax exemptions.
So Penny joins us. Can taxpayers have a look at who gets those exemptions and how much their city councils are authorizing?
Well, Mijung, they can't see the mandatory automatic ones, but every municipality except Vancouver is required under law to publish the list of discretionary or permissive exemptions in their annual report. I found them all on their website. It's really easy to look up. The City of Vancouver isn't required to do so and reports the grand total to council, but they did give CTV News their full list when we asked for it, Mijung.
Okay, thank you, Penny.
You bet.
Surrey police are looking for a suspect who allegedly grabbed a 10-year-old girl. Police say it happened back on September 17th on 138th Street near 71st Avenue. The girl was approached by the suspect and groped. The suspect ran away. He's described as in his 20s, 5'9", wearing a blue long-sleeve shirt, dark overalls, and a light-colored hat and bag. Anyone with information is asked to contact Surrey Police. Environmental groups are slamming the announcement from the Prime Minister to fast-track two major BC projects. They say the government appears to be putting climate goals on the back burner as it doubles down on the fossil fuel industry. CTV's Martin McMahon reports.
It is critical for us to respond.
With the Canadian economy under pressure from the trade war with the U.S., a victory lap of sorts for Premier David Eby. A day after Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the Silesims LNG project and the North Coast transmission line will be considered for fast-tracking.
The recognition that British Columbia will be the economic engine of the new Canadian economy that we're building is growing.
But the announcement is generating a larger debate about resource extraction in the province, with concerns from environmental organizations and some Indigenous groups mounting.
I think we're seeing consultation being abused when it comes to a relationship between provincial, federal governments and local title holders and actual governance structures.
Virtually every project on these lists has already been approved. So this whole like fast tracking major projects seems to be more of a performance than anything. But it's nonetheless concerning that our Prime Minister thinks that it's important to be touting, fossil fuel projects, these destructive projects.
But the fact the Prime Minister feels the need to get involved in order for these projects to go ahead speaks to a larger issue of cumbersome regulation, according to some business groups.
CLSMs means thousands of construction jobs, hundreds of long-term operating jobs. There's billions of dollars in capital investment in a part of the province that really feels it when investment dries up.
Even with the government's announcement, the owners of the CLSMs project have yet to make a final investment decision on whether to move ahead. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver City Council has voted to rezone a section of land at an elementary school to make way for condos. Councillors say the need for more affordable housing is great. But as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, some parents believe it's a rash decision that could have long-term consequences.
What was once a basketball court for students at Sir Sanford Fleming Elementary School on Knight Street and East 49th Avenue will now become a 6-story mixed-use apartment building.
They are very short-sighted decisions.
Parents say the school is full with more than 400 students.
They need more breathing room, more play areas. Rather than doing that, we're actually taking away 2 full basketball courts and giving them 2 half basketball courts congested beside the playground.
On Thursday, City Council approved rezoning the site. 20% of the units will be below market.
We really do need housing. We have a low vacancy rate in the city as a whole. We've heard that it's low, particularly in this neighborhood.
2 city councillors voted against it.
We know that we're going to be having more people moving into this neighbourhood. We're going to need to preserve that public open space. It's another short-term decision where we don't know the long-term consequences.
The Vancouver School Board owns the land, which stretches from 47th to 49th Avenue. The VSB deemed part of its surplus and voted to proceed with a disposition, agreeing to a 99-year lease with Vittori Developments for $8.5 million.
Selling this piece of land is not the right decision.
Students say the school needs more green space.
Fleming does not have a real field. There's no grass to run on. No soft place to fall.
Concerns also exist about classroom space if enrollment increases.
And that portable will go onto our soccer fields because that piece of land that we dearly need is now going to be gone.
Fleming's shrinking footprint is something those in the community worry will set a precedent for other schools.
It's absolutely unheard of and it's absolutely sad what we're doing.
Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's 6:12. Let's take a look outside. You're looking at Burrard Street. The roads are starting to get a little slick because it did start raining this afternoon. Caroline, we got a bit of a break this morning at least.
Just when you think we were in a drying trend, no, we are not. It is November. It is British Columbia. And that live shot is just a little hint of what you can expect now in through the weekend. Let's take a look at the current temperatures, shall we, for the lower mainland. All right, now it is 7 degrees in Vancouver, 7 in Surrey, 8 in White Rock, 8 in Chilliwack. So pretty much standard across the board, a little cooler in West Van. As for your look ahead tonight, yes, the rain will remain with us. Rain will remain tomorrow. Showers off and on throughout the day. More rainfall as the day goes on.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Explore the endless possibilities at one of our 36 BC locations. Learn more at expediacruises.ca.
So, Mi Jung, we've got a wet weekend ahead. Don't you dare put away that umbrella. You will be needing it.
Yeah, maybe time to do some indoor chores this weekend.
Do some baking.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, thanks, Caroline. A longtime Vancouver firefighter was laid to rest today after dying from occupational cancer last month. His memorial service at a downtown Vancouver church paid tribute to a beloved father, husband, and colleague, and highlighted the dangers firefighters face on the job. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the story.
Hundreds of uniformed firefighters filled St. Andrew's Wesley United Church in downtown Vancouver Friday morning to pay tribute to acting Captain Neil Austin.
He worshipped the brother and sisterhood of the Vancouver Fire Department. And in the end,
He gave his life to this organization.
A 20-year veteran of Vancouver Fire Rescue and a member of the Heavy Urban Search and Rescue Team Canada Task Force 1, Austin died of occupational cancer last month. He was 54 years old.
Neil was many things to many people, but one thing he wasn't was a cancer survivor. And of all the things he was already, this is the one thing I wish he was the most.
In 2024, WorkSafe BC accepted 63 occupational cancer claims from BC firefighters, including 21 fatal claims.
Neil's passing from occupational cancer is a loss that hits us hard and reminds us of the costs of the work we do. The risks that don't always come in the heat of a call, but linger quietly over years of service. His illness was born of the very work he dedicated his life to.
Last year, Vancouver Fire Rescue became the first department in North America to begin replacing gear that contains chemicals linked to cancer.
Every improvement we fight for, every policy we demand, and every innovation we adopt carries the memory of those who have paid the price. Neil's story becomes part of our purpose.
We must honor Neil by being diligent and mitigating these risks wherever possible. His death must not be in vain.
After a touching tribute filled with stories, tears, and laughter.
I told him, you should ride that platform truck to the pearly gates. He said, no, I don't trust it. I think it'll get stuck part way.
Austin's service helmet was given to his son, and the flag that was draped over his casket to his widow.
Acting Captain Neil Austin, thank you for your service and the ultimate price you paid. We are truly grateful. Rest in peace, brother. We will take it from here.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
We take the temperature of Canadians when it comes to holiday spending. How's concern over tariffs and cost of living impacting shoppers? Also ahead. Auditions are underway for teens vying to get into the top ballet school in the country, and a dream come true for one Vancouver dancer. When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. Some local ballet students got a chance to dance for their futures today, auditioning for a spot in a prestigious professional program with a spot in the National Ballet of Canada's production of The Nutcracker on the line. CTV's Brianne Foley introduces us to one of Vancouver's own who landed the lead in this year's production.
It was kind of unexpected because it's my first year and I'm in grade 9.
This holiday season, Vancouver's own Angus Crerar is one of the lead roles in the National Ballet of Canada's production of The Nutcracker.
And maybe the most significant event that's sort of happened since me being here is being chosen as Misha.
The grade 9 student began dancing when he was 7 before joining the Professional Ballet Academy program with Canada's National Ballet School.
I auditioned to come here for a week, and of course it's such like a dream to be here. So then I went to summer intensive, and now I'm here.
His start came because of his admission to the Professional Ballet Academy program, which is holding auditions in Vancouver for students in grades 6 to 12.
We are looking for the young dancers who have the heart and desire to become a dancer, to invite to our second stage audition, which is going to be in July, and give them an opportunity to pursue their dreams.
Those chosen advance to a summer program and then a chance at a life of dance, which they say is worth the audition.
Because if I get an opportunity to go or do bigger stuff, it would be so much more fun. I think obviously I'd have to work really hard, and I think it would mean a lot. It's just so exciting because I did this summer course last year and I had so much fun with it. It's the fact that I get to do it again, it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Joining a demanding program,
giving the opportunity to come and feel that dance world from 8 a.m. until 6:30 p.m.
but worth every hour.
An amazing opportunity. I'm so grateful that I am here.
Brianne Foley, CTV News, Vancouver.
Excitement is building for Whitecaps fans ahead of the club's Western Conference semifinal against LAFC, and we now know the match will be played in front of a full house. The Whitecaps announced today tickets have sold out for next Saturday's playoff clash at BC Place. More than 53,000 fans will be there in what is expected to be one of the largest attendances in BC soccer history. The Whitecaps and LAFC are meeting in the playoffs for the third straight year. A new short documentary highlights our province's wine growers after a devastating winter freeze from 2023 to 2024. The freeze so devastating, some vineyards contemplating whether to close their doors in order to stay afloat. Some BC wine growers imported grapes from out of the province in an effort to stay open, while vineyards recovered, now back to business as usual with a healthy 2025 crop. Temporary measures will not be extended past this year. The documentary, New Vines and New Relationships, were grown as a result of the freeze. A group of winemakers has collaborated on ways to better support each other.
We had the same story almost identically, the same issues, the same problems, the same struggles. And so these freeze events just solidified it.
Stronger Together, BC Wine Rises captures the winemaker's resilience and perseverance and highlights the spirit of the community. Pope Leo is immortalized in the country where he spent 10 years serving as a priest. Also coming up, in Washington state, a seal desperate not to become a meal for orcas finds refuge on a boat. That's ahead on CTV News at 6. Catholic residents of a city in Peru are paying homage to Pope Leo with a special gesture. This 5-meter-high fiberglass statue was created by a Peruvian artist and sculptor known for his religious and monumental works. The residents consider the pontiff a cornerstone of their community after he spent more than 10 years of his religious life there. It is a central feature of the so-called Pope's route. In the UK, the king celebrated his 77th birthday today. The monarch was in Wales for his special day, receiving birthday wishes as he attended the opening of a metro station in the south of the country. He also had a chance to drive a train during the visit. Earlier, the king attended a reception at a castle where he was presented with a birthday cake in the shape of the building. He later went for a walkabout outside, greeting some of the well-wishers who turned out to see him. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace has marked the king's birthday with the release of a new photo of the monarch. The image shows Charles in the gardens of Sandringham Estate in Norfolk with the stately home in the background. The photo was taken in May by photographer Millie Pilkington. The Christmas season is creeping closer, and a new survey has found many Canadians plan to cut back. When it comes to holiday shopping this year, 3 in 5 say they plan to adjust their spending plans amid concerns about tariff-related inflation. CTV's John Venevalley-Rao reports.
At Toronto's Eaton Centre, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And with the holiday season fast approaching, some shoppers already crossing names off their list.
We're just getting ready. We already have our trees up. We're doing some shopping today. We're going to hit some other malls as well and do some shopping.
And the survey offering a snapshot of how Canadians plan to spend amid worries about tariffs, the job market, and inflation.
I think things are really expensive right now, so I'm probably going to be cutting back a little bit this year, or budgeting well, or just making sure I'm buying things on like Black Friday.
The survey by BMO finding 41% plan to cut back on holiday spending and 15% budgeting to shell out more on gifts, anticipating higher prices due to tariffs.
It is concerning that, everything is more expensive.
Some said they plan to buy more Canadian-made products to avoid tariffs, while a quarter said they started shopping early to avoid potential tariff-related price increases. And respondents on average plan to spend $2,300, which includes travel and food.
There's this general just concern from Canadians of just maybe needing to be really fiscally responsible over the holidays. because there's still a little bit of uncertainty of where things are headed next year.
As for where Canadians may cut spending, holiday decorations, travel, and dining out were top items.
I'm finding the prices have gone up so much, just even food. So I think this year definitely spending a lot less on presents in general.
A separate survey recently found more than half of Canadians feel anxious about affording the holidays, and 61% don't feel financially prepared for them.
Meanwhile, a quarter of those surveyed by BMO said they plan to cut back on the number of people on their holiday gift list. John Benavelli-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
A seal swimming for its life actually jumps on a boat to escape the jaws of orcas. Also ahead. Scary moments for Ariana Grande at a movie premiere when a man jumped over the barricade to put his arms around her, and he didn't do it just once. That's ahead. Have a news tip, video, or photos of breaking news from your screen to ours when you see it happen? Send it to CTV News. Email us at vantips@ctv.ca or text 10400. Singapore police have charged an Australian man who jumped a barricade and grabbed Ariana Grande at the Asia premiere of Wicked for Good. Video from the event shows the man, a well-known prankster on social media, rushing past photographers and wrapping his arm around the singer. Co-star Cynthia Erivo is quick to rush to her defense before security pulled him away. He has now been charged with being a public nuisance. A harbor seal has made the escape of the century just south of the border.
Oh, you poor thing. I am shaking right now. He is on board. He is not trying to get on board. He is on our boat. You're good. Just stay, buddy.
This was off Camano Island in Washington State earlier this month. A group of photographers was watching a pod of orcas, which apparently decided it was time for a seal snack. But the seal was having none of that and jumped onto the boat. The orcas took off after about 15 or 20 minutes. When the photographers began heading back to shore and were an acceptable distance away, the seal jumped back into the water.
I am shaking.
Let's go to Caroline now. Caroline, it's amazing that the seal was able to know that the back end of the boat, that it could jump onto it.
Oh my gosh, Mi-Jung, that was quite a roller coaster. We're all yelling, "Don't jump back in!" But a happy ending for the seal for now. All right, let's take a look at the forecast, shall we? CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Let's take a look at the snowfall warning that is in effect for Highway 3, Paulson Summit to Kootenay Pass now. Into tomorrow morning, expect 15 to 25 centimeters to fall. So if you're out and about on that road, do take care. As for the lower mainland, we will see a lot of rain fall overnight and into tomorrow morning. A bit of clearing tomorrow morning. A little bit of showers in Fraser Valley and intermittent showers throughout the day tomorrow. So all the action will come later on into the day. And then we'll have a bit of a clearing trend, just a bit. All right, let's take a look at the forecast. Port Hardy, 9 degrees and some showers. Campbell River, Comox, wet weather there and a high of 9 degrees. Wet one ahead on South Island. Showers from Tofino, Ucluelet, all the way down to Victoria. Temps 9 degrees in Port Alberni, Tofino 11, Victoria 11. We've got showers on the Sunshine Coast between 9 and 10 degrees in Powell River and Sechelt. Whistler, rain in the morning, tapering off in the evening and a high of 7. Periods of rain in Squamish and 9 degrees. As for the lower mainland, between 10 and 12 degrees, periods of rain throughout the day. More rainfall in the valley, but it looks like we're going to see intermittent showers tomorrow. Not a deluge of rain, but still wet weather ahead, no doubt about that. And the wet weather will remain for at least the next week in the Metro Vancouver area. Look at that, just gray and showers. Bit of a reprieve on Thursday in the form of some sun and some showers. But friends, what I'm telling you now is do not get rid of your umbrella because you will be needing it.
So it looks like Saturday is going to be the wetter day. So if you want to get outside, maybe Sunday's a better bet.
It's just going to be intermittent showers throughout the weekend, but yes, you're right there. Sunday, a little bit of clearing in the morning, but then the showers return at night, just in time for the work week on Monday.
All right, thanks a lot, Caroline. Well, holiday events are ramping up. We'll tell you about some of the highlights in this week's Friday Feel Goods. Also coming up.
Credit cards are safer than many other payment methods.
Some advice to protect yourself from the surge in scams bombarding us. And it's not just seniors who are getting ripped off. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up $1.40, closing at $60.09 U.S. a barrel. Gold lost more than $100 on the day. The TSX ended up higher, 72 points, while the Dow Jones lost 309 points. Getting annoying texts connected to fraud are a hassle that many of us experience every day. A new survey finds that texting scams have jumped 50% in the past year, and you may be surprised to find out which group is most at risk. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
Many of us are bombarded with fake texts on a daily basis. It could be a message that looks like it's from your bank or a bogus delivery from Canada Post. And if you think you're getting more unsolicited texts and messages, you're right. A new Consumer Reports Cyber Readiness Report finds text scam attempts are up by 50%. And it might surprise you, they're growing the fastest among Gen Zers.
Scammers are trying to rip off young adults.
18 to 29-year-olds are getting scammed at record levels, and reports of text scam attempts from Gen Zers tripled.
And it makes sense. They text a lot. It's a primary form of communication, and they have instant access to money on their phone.
The survey also found lower-income households were 3 times as likely to lose money from scams. One way to try and protect yourself is to make payments using a credit card.
Credit cards are safer than many other payment methods because you have a right to request a chargeback when fraudulent transactions occur. Consumers who do not use credit cards have fewer rights to dispute fraud when it occurs.
Other ways to protect yourself: don't reply to random or unsolicited texts. Responding confirms your number is active, so fraudsters might keep bugging you or sell your number. Instead, block the number and mark it as spam. Next, cut down on text spam before it reaches you. Check with your phone carrier. Most offer free tools to filter or block unwanted messages. Also, watch out for phishing scams. Be suspicious of requests for personal information from text, emails, or messaging apps. If the message seems urgent or time-sensitive, that's another red flag. Finally, when shopping online, use a credit card. Other payment options may not offer the same protections. Pat Foran, CTV News.
The latest entry in a magical heist movie franchise is hoping to steal #1 at the weekend box office.
In the world of magic, everything that disappears reappears. It is very good to be back.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't is the third film in the Now You See Me franchise. Deadline reports it's on track for $20 to $24 million US across North America. Second place is expected to be a close race between Predator Badlands and The Running Man with Glenn Powell. They're each expected to bring in around $15 million. The Golden Globes are still a few months away, but organizers have revealed another recipient of one of the show's major honors. The Carol Burnett Award for TV Achievement will be granted to Sarah Jessica Parker, and Helen Mirren will receive the Cecil B. DeMille Award for outstanding contributions to the world of entertainment. The main Golden Globe ceremony is set for January 11th, hosted for the second time by comedian Nikki Glaser. Still glowing strong, the Lumiere Light Festival is back, as is the Vancouver Christmas Market and World Supercross Championship. Your Friday feel-goods are next, plus Saving Michael. Adam meets a man with a story of bravery and gratitude that spans 6 decades and reaches from coast to coast. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
A new report suggests older adults, not teens, may be the real screen addicts. Monday on Your Morning Vancouver, how your screen habits could shape your brain health. Plus, Canadian music icon Alan Doyle joins us in studio. He's sharing stories from his new book, The Smiling Land. See you in the morning.
The CFL handed out its season awards last night, and some BC Lions received top honors. Quarterback Nathan Rourke was the big winner, named Most Outstanding Player and Most Outstanding Canadian. The Victoria native set career highs for passing yards and touchdowns this season. Meantime, Matthew Betts won the Top Defensive Player award. He's the first Canadian to win the award twice. Now the attention turns to Sunday's big game. This is the weekend Canadian football fans have been waiting for. Excitement is building for Sunday's 112th Grey Cup between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Montreal Alouettes. Both teams are getting in some final practice before the game. Montreal is headed back to the Grey Cup after winning the 2023 title. They have squared off against the Roughriders twice before in the championship. Saskatchewan last played in the Grey Cup in 2013, winning the franchise's 4th title. The action kicks off Sunday at 3 o'clock. And one of Grey Cup Week's oldest traditions, dating back more than 75 years, trotted into a Winnipeg art gallery yesterday. That's Tough Enough, the mascot of the Calgary Stampeders. The tradition of riding into a host city building started in 1948 when a Stamps supporter rode a horse right into Toronto's Royal York Hotel. A Toronto Blue Jay is the winner of Major League Baseball's first ever Entertainer of the Year award. And most fans probably agreed they made the right choice.
Hit well to deep left center. And this one will go.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gave fans plenty to cheer about during a sparkling season by the slugging first baseman. He helped his team win its first American League East pennant since 1993 and come within just one win of a World Series championship. And while the Jays may not have won the World Series, pitcher Trey Savage will still get a ring. The 22-year-old rookie and his longtime partner Taylor Frick announced their engagement on social media with images of the proposal on a beach. Isn't that nice? The 22-year-old, of course,
beautiful.
He was on the Vancouver Canadians shortly before going to the Jays.
And he was outstanding in the playoffs. He was so good.
Yeah, congratulations, Trey. Okay, it's time for Friday Feel Goods, a weekly roundup of unique events happening in Metro Vancouver. Here are 3 things worth checking out. Gear up for a night of adrenaline as the World Supercross Canadian GP takes over BC Place tomorrow. A star-studded lineup of riders will go full throttle as they battle it out on the track. And you'll also get to see some gravity-defying stunt shows with some of the sport's boldest athletes taking to the air. Have you guys ever been to
I have, and it's pretty fantastic, but just remember to bring earplugs because it is so loud, but it is pretty cool.
Okay, and of course, Christmas is in the air. already,
Love it,
right?
Love it. Never too soon to enjoy a European Christmas village without booking a flight. The Vancouver Christmas Market is back at Jackpool Plaza, transforming the waterfront into a winter wonderland. Beautiful, from live music and handmade gifts to mulled wine and other treats. It's the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit. Now in its 15th year, the market runs through Christmas Eve. Oh, I can't wait to go this year.
You had me at mulled wine.
Yeah, and bacon-wrapped hot dogs, I think those were. Those look good.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you just have to bring an umbrella, though, right?
Yes, we live in BC.
And downtown Vancouver is lighting up once again for the Lumiere Festival. The 12th annual event will feature a variety of illuminated art installations and live performances across the downtown core and the West End. From small sculptures to large-scale light projections, it's a dazzling way to brighten up these dark November nights. It kicked off last night and will run through Sunday from 5 to 9:30.
That looks like fun.
Yeah.
More good times.
Is it too early to put up Christmas lights, though?
I don't think so. I'm always of the mind that as long as it's November 12th, you know, give Remembrance Day its due, and then November 12th, have at it.
Yeah, I mean, because these nights are so dark.
They're
and you
so
need,
dark.
You need something to brighten up the evening.
Absolutely,
right?
I agree.
Something to
Light
make
up,
you
why not?
smile.
I'll get my husband on that then. Okay, if you have any events you'd like us to highlight, email your tips to ctvfeelgoods@ctv.ca. We'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in a moment. First, Kevin's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Yeah, that's right. Mi Jung, BC lawyers are the latest target in the growing extortion crisis. The Law Society of BC says it's become aware of lawyers receiving threats of violence unless they hand over substantial sums of money. This comes just days after a Surrey home was riddled with bullets for the second time in less than a week. Later tonight, we'll hear from a BC Conservative MLA calling on the feds to give authorities more powers in catching those responsible. That and all your late-breaking news coming up at 11:30.
Yeah, it's a crime spree that just seems to be intensifying.
Well over a year at this point, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Finally, Adam learns about a story of courage and friendship spreading across the country and more than 5 decades on this Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
After driving near the water that winter day, Brian Lavery thought he saw a dog splashing in the ice.
And so I looked back and I just saw these little arms and legs going.
Without thinking, Brian raced into the frigid water, so far it reached his chest, and found a small child floating face down.
It was traumatic because I was afraid that when he stopped moving, that something terrible had happened.
When Brian turned the body over, he saw a little boy's face as red as a beet.
And he let out a big blast of air. You know, it was a gift. I was so grateful.
That was 1968. Brian was barely 18, and the boy he saved, Michael Pickup, had just turned 2.
And that was the last time I saw Michael until about 3 weeks ago.
Until the now grown-up Michael came across this old newspaper article about the day he was the child saved from drowning and realized this was far more than just a story about him being an adventurous toddler.
And I think it was just that hit of, okay, had it not been for this guy, I'd be dead. I wouldn't be here today.
So Michael started searching for Brian online from BC before finding him in Nova Scotia and then flying across the country so they could meet each other for the first time in 56 years.
It was like we had known each other without knowing each other.
It was moving.
Yeah, it was really quite lovely.
Well, Brian had received multiple thank you letters from Michael's family at the time, calling him brave and a miracle. Michael finally got to express his gratitude in person, calling Brian a hero.
That touches you in a way that you can't really put into words.
Michael says the experience inspired him to pay it forward by helping others. Along with working as BC's Auditor General, he was recently recognized with the King's Coronation Medal for outstanding public service.
This is my second chance, and I'm going to make the best of it.
Well, Brian says he ended up saving 2 other people from drowning over the years, teaching him that life is precious.
You can't live in the past, you can't live in the future, you only have the present.
So cherish it, Brian says, and always help others do the same. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
Wow, what a hero.
What an incredible story. I thought I recognized Michael Pickup. He's the Auditor General.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And saved 2 other people as well. I mean,
what are the odds that
yeah.
These Sawatsky sign-offs are just a roller coaster of emotions every single time.
Well, and it was really important to have that little newspaper story because that's what enabled them to connect again.
Absolutely.
What a beautiful bond.
Great happy ending.
All right, I guess that's time for our scenic snapshot. Let's take a look at it. Thank you, Heather, for sending this in. A foggy time in New West. Beautiful shot. You want your photo featured? Email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Very nice shot. All right, thanks for joining us. Kevin will be back tonight for CTV News at 11:30. Have a great evening.
See you later.